Joining me as they do every Tuesday, take a step back and a bit of a broader view of the news of the day and what's happening around the country in and around the week and the issues we care about. Former Deputy Prime Minister John Anderson and Senior Fellow at the Institute of Public Affairs, John Roskam. Gentlemen, welcome. I'll start, if I can, with you, John Anderson. I briefed this sort of going into the break. For all the talk about the Conservative side of politics being in terminal decline, the lessons of recent elections show some of the best results ever for the National Party. I mean, in Victoria, I think it's the best result since the 1930s. In November, the Libs go backwards. We saw a good result for the National Party in New South Wales. We know at the last federal election, their vote held up and some. What are the Nats doing differently than the Liberals?
I think there are two things that I would think the party has held on to that's strong, and I don't want to buy into the debate about what the Liberal Party needs to do, but the two things that I would nominate are that I do think the National Party members are very good at staying close to their constituents, at interacting with them, and I think they're helped by the fact that although the structures and the branch membership, to be honest, are not as strong as they once were, they are still sufficiently robust for people to be able to interact, to have people working for them on the ground, to be able to get a message out. In my day in Guida, an astonishing number of branches that were quite active. They wanted to see you regularly, so you had the leaders in that community saying, the member's been here, here's his position, and that counteracts the horrible problem we have of the disengagement with politics that is now rampant in Western society. And is a real problem. People were engaged, and I think we've managed to keep that relatively healthy, even though I'd like to see it in better shape.
John Roskam, I know you were out and about in Aston on the weekend. You heard what John's had to say. What do you think about particularly the Liberal Party's point about engagement, connection, and I've always said about the National Party candidates, they are absolutely of their communities. How much of a lesson do Libs need to learn from all of that?
Well, you spoke about this last night, Peter. Rashina Campbell was an outstanding candidate and should be in Parliament, but the local Liberal pre-selectors had no say in her selection. It's interesting, the more digital we become, the more we work from home, the more we Zoom each other, the more we actually need personal interaction and connectedness. And it might be harder to do, but door knocking for politicians works, community meetings works, and it's exactly as John said, it's the human touch that still makes a difference. And we're seeing that as the political parties become more removed from their constituents and political leaders become more alike, our community members want authenticity, and I think the Nationals have been able to maintain that, looking at from afar.